Let's get going. So I moved this concept sketch over to my second screen, so I can always take a look at it while I'm blocking out the character. And I'll just take a simple sphere in ZBrush, convert it to Dynamesh, and use the move brush to pull the geometry into the first shapes of the head. And like I said in the previous video, the head is a mix of a salamander and a hammerhead shark. I try to get these basic shapes down first. You know, the face is kind of, or the head is kind of triangular shaped, like pointing forward, and then his eye sockets have this hammerhead shark configuration, which I actually like on this guy. You know, I love hammerhead sharks. They're quite cool. So in the beginning, I just keep going until the scope is heading into the right direction. Because I think like the first couple of minutes, or first 10 to 20 minutes, they can be the hardest, because you're fighting a blob of geometry and keep shaping it and editing it and changing it until it's going where you actually want it to go, like a safe direction. Because right now it looks more like a dog with the eyes pulled apart. Now, I first focus on like the landmarks of the face, like the eyes, the nostrils, and then the mouth and the jawline. This is just about indicating here, okay, here your nostrils, and indicating some of the eye sockets here, a bit of the lower jaw, volume of the head. Yeah, focusing on the lower jaw a little bit, just quickly sketching in the jawline. It's like if I would draw, do a pencil drawing, I'd just sketch it in quickly. So I have the rough position of the element, same with the mouth. And now I have like the basic features, the facial features, mouth, nostrils, eyes, jaw, and then I can, from there on, I can keep going and make it work design-wise so it matches the concept. So I can always change them, change the position, edit them. I think that's a good way to get to the target design that you want. Let's say if I would just sit there and think about every stroke, think about every choice, every tool, how to reach the final scope would probably take me way longer than just diving in and start sculpting, because I can always change things that are already there. But if nothing would be there, what could I do? You know? So you can always change stuff. So that's why I think it's also good not to get too attached to the current design or the current stage of the scope. Just be open to change things. You can always make it better. We can also make it worse. It can also happen, but every stroke, every minute that we can spend on making a design better is like it's an opportunity. So right now, as you can see, the head is nowhere near where I want it to be. So I'm trying to fix the silhouette here on the side. You know, the face is still quite flat. It's already pointing forward, but it's still not there because the neck is quite massive, and it looks like he has very little brain. So I'm now defining the jawline a little bit more to see where that's going to go. Yeah. And using the move brush, using clay brush, sometimes clay tubes, the standard brush, of course, some Damien standard here and there. That's pretty much it. And yeah, looking at the model from all directions, editing them from all directions is it's always a good thing. Because once you edit it from one side and you rotate it, it might look totally different. So this is another piece, this dangly bit that he has in the middle of his chin. It's not like a super important detail of the entire head, but it's a huge contributor to the silhouette. So that's why I put it in there already quite early. Because in the profile view, it elongates the head, even if it's so thin. Working a bit more on the mouth here. Now I'm trying to get these eye sockets transist into the face a bit better. Working on that transition. And still constantly looking at the concept art on the side. Because I just saw on the concept that this dangly bit here in the middle is quite thin, and his chin is a bit more prominent. Yeah, moving his nose downwards a bit. Yeah. Even if something looks already quite right, I would still try to, try to improve it, even if that means changing what's already there. If it works out, and if it looks even better, cool, I'll go for it. But if not, then I undo. Right? So that's the pleasure of having symmetry and undo in ZBrush. So sculpting something like, it could be an ear or ear socket or the membrane is in. I want to work on that jawline a little bit more, but as you can see, the jaw and the neck is like forming one continuous line. First I'm going to do the fins that start from the forehead and go down his neck. I just mask out a line that could represent the thickness of the fins. And then I just invert the mask and use the move brush to move them out manually. You could also use the snake hook for that, the lower intensity, that also works. In this case I just used the move brush. However, I had the AccuCurve feature turned on for the move brush, because what AccuCurve does is, it creates some kind of a very sharp tip, as if you would pull out a single vertex out of a sub-D mesh, a very sharp tip of it. That's what this does. So I keep the tips of these fins nice and sharp. So I turned on the AccuCurve. I just pull these out. Very distorted geometry, but for that we have Dynamesh. The Dynamesh was a gift from heaven once it was released. And now, as you can see, I moved out these fins. They changed the silhouette again. And therefore I had to adjust the profile of the face a little bit. Because now the first fin and the forehead, they are forming one line that I had to change a little bit to make it work the way it is in the concept. Just have to clean up a few parts by thickening them. I don't go crazy into these details because at this stage I still focus mostly on the readability of the basic shapes. Yeah, still going in and tweaking the head. Okay, what I'd like to do now is, as I said earlier, I want to break the silhouette of the lower jaw a bit. So the lower jaw is a bit more prominent compared to the rest, so I just move this neck part into the jaw. So we have that step in the silhouette, step in the line, that emphasizes his lower jaw a little bit more. Now I'm doing these dangly bits on the side, some kind of cartilage. Maybe that helps him to sense the different types of air temperature or water temperature. Maybe some kind of cat whiskers or something. Still using the same brush set like before, like Move Brush and Standard. Bit of Damien Standard. Masking techniques. Actually, very, very simple stuff. So no magic. I guess these two smaller ones here. The back of his head here. Alright. Next one is, I jumped a little bit ahead in time and kept sculpting the head, and now I'm more into the chest part, sculpting the torso. And I started it the same way that I started the head, adding just another sphere, convert that into the animation, use the same brush set, Move Brush, Clay, and so on, to bring the torso in shape. Currently I'm trying to make it match to the head, which is a bit of tricky because they're both separate subtools right now. But once they kind of match, I will merge them together and then re-dynamesh so they are one continuous piece of geo. Then I sculpt the transitions. So this is one way of generating or sculpting a body. You could also start with a complete Dynamesh figurine, Dynamesh armor, sorry, not Dynamesh, but Z-sphere figurine, a Z-sphere armature, and then convert that into geo and do it. So right, I just merged it. You could just see the two different poly groups, and I sculpted the transitions. Now I'm doing a few final tweaks on this torso piece. Sculpting here in the bit of the volume the rhomboids create, and then the tip of the scapula. The rear head of the deltoid. Always say about your work. It's always a good idea. Work on the lats, pull them in. This is more just sketching right now. It's not really finalizing anything. We don't need to sculpt crazy skin details on this part here anyway, you know, the back and the lower back, because you know all these parts will be, you know, hidden by the armor at the end. So we just sketch out the essential parts, the basic anatomy, and basically preparing the body for the armor modeling and the armor sculpting later on. Alright, next step is the arms, and for the arms I use a different workflow, which is just adding a Z-sphere, dragging out additional Z-spheres to build the armature of the arms. It is because, you know, I could also add another sphere and convert it to Dynamesh and use the Move Brush or the Snake Hook to pull out the arm. But the Z-spheres allow me to work already on the length of the arms in a very early stage, and they already have the cylindrical shapes. So that's why I prefer the Z-spheres for this stuff.